All right, y'all, before we start, because some of y'all be tripping, under the advice of counsel, I got to add that the views, thoughts, opinions that are expressed on this podcast are mine and mine alone. They do not represent my employer. All right, let's go.
Because I was like, damn, do we really want to get into this discussion? Because if we get into this discussion right here, y'all.
All right, so we were talking about leadership and where you felt that Mr. Contreras was not as visible or not as in control as we would think he would be, being the principal of this school, but you are more so seeing more presence and more directives being given by his supervisor and even her supervisor above that. And how does that change your trust in administration? How does that change things?
I mean, I already I didn't really have confidence as is because it's Madison High School. I've been there for 3 years to know that there are certain things and flaws in administration, but there are redeemable qualities and there are redeemable APs and everything. Like, I speak to some APs every day, give them a fist bump, like, hey, and have good conversations with them. And if they're listening to this, they know exactly who they are.
Okay.
But the problem is that no, it's just control isn't to Contreras right now. And we need to really have transparency of what's going on behind the scenes. I believe that is what would really help and fix things. Transparency, of which we don't have much of it. Or anytime we're given the opportunity to give transparency or get transparency, we end up having half excuse me, I was about to curse, half answers. The answers are halfway. They don't get fully to the question or the point. Or sometimes they go over the head of the parents or teachers or students completely. So, I mean, it's just not good. I think trust in administration is at an all-time low.
So what are y'all's goals? What do you hope to accomplish with all of this? And then what do you envision being the end of all of this?
I think the end of all of this would be a discussion between students, teachers, parents, and the administration, and actually finding a solution that everyone can be happy with. So the students can be happy, the teachers can be happy. Teachers definitely need to be happy at a time like this.
Absolutely.
And the admins can be, like whatever type of thing. Because we all know you can, with HISD, you can never really get satisfactory results from administration at the top. So that's kind of a lost cause, but to have them we want them at a point to where, they're cool with the agreement we come up with. And I think actual agreement needs to be settled and made between students, parents, and teachers. And the rest of the student body should also know that such a meeting did in fact happen,
Okay. So I'm going to go back because what I've tried to do and what I said I was going to do with speaking with you was to really just listen to you talk. I love to get the input of, I would consider you a student, right? I would love to get the input of students without giving so much of my mama me, the mama version of me, or the teacher version of me, and just kind of let you be heard, because I think that's what a lot of this is about. You guys have a voice and you have intelligent voices and you guys are not being heard. No one is listening to you or brushing you off because you're just children, and no one is trying to respect or understand your feelings. And, no one ever asked the children how they felt about the whole change of everything with the district changing. And so I'm doing my best to let you voice your concerns and voice your hurt and your frustration.
And I think you're doing a fantastic job at it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So I do want to go back to parental involvement, right? Because we know that this is my 23rd year in education, and I know that a lot of things get done or don't get done when parents are or are not involved.
Yeah.
And there are some schools, and this could be in any district. I'm not going to say this is just an HISD thing. This could be in any district where parents are not as involved. They're able to, those schools and the higher ups and the admins are able to get away with doing a lot more to those communities when they feel like the parents are not present and the parents are not going to question anything that they have going on. So what can you say? I want you to use your young, intelligent mind, and I want you to kind of think about that. And what are some ways that you guys can push and advocate for more of those parents to come up and support the other things that you guys have going on, not necessarily the cell phone ban, but, the curriculum. We know you guys have a scripted curriculum. You guys' curriculum looks totally different than some of the other high schools in your school districts, because every single day your teachers are given this prompt that they have to teach from, and we do this 20 minutes on this. Now we got to move to this test. You guys test like crazy. There's a test almost, from what I'm reading, some of the curriculum. I'm like, you guys test almost daily, literally. There's a test. So encouraging those parents to come up and let's say, hey, let's not make this about a cell phone, because of course, the more and more people say cell phone, the attention
it's going to fade out the real issue.
Absolutely.
Things happening. And I think with the no shade to the students that they're speaking to with the media, no shade to them. They're standing up for a cause, and they're not only brave, but they are passionate about what they've done.
Absolutely.
And I absolutely love the fight and the courage of some of these students. But on the other hand, I do not think that some of the freshmen are quite in the loop of what exactly is going on.
Right.
See the policies being enacted, and they don't actually know, some of the reasoning behind it and what can actually be done. They're protesting because of the policy. But what they should be protesting is everything with Madison, everything with the superintendent. Yes, there are signs that do say F Mike Miles, and I'm not referring to his first name.
Right.
But we need to really say, okay, why do we hate this guy? We need to say, why is this guy not fit to be our superintendent? Which I myself can name a couple of reasons why. One of them being he's never been in a classroom. As many people may not be aware, Mike Miles has never taught. And I believe that the superintendent should be, I'm going off the record a little bit.
Say allegedly, so we won't get any smoke to come back at you. And he says, oh, no, I taught kindergarten for 1 year in Colorado. So I can't.
Yeah, this is all alleged. This is all alleged. So yes, but I'm going to go off the record for a second and say, I believe we should elect our superintendent here in HISD. The teachers should have a say in who their boss is. I have seen this successfully done in other school districts. Even though I come from a smaller school district in Columbia County, their superintendent is elected every 4 years. Their superintendent's term is 4 years in office. If the teachers and the city goers can also vote for the superintendent also, if they believe that they are not doing a sufficient enough job, guess what? They can remove that superintendent after their 4-year term is up. And on top of that, their superintendents actually have to fight for their seat. They're put in a position where they have to be good. They have to actually, listen to the students, listen to the parents, listen to the teachers, so that they can earn their vote. Now, there are problems in of itself with that, which with any system, there are going to be issues. But I believe HISD needs that in order to have stability. Having a teacher who is actually taught in a classroom, once again allegedly, to actually be able to relate with the teachers on a personal level, actually get to know the struggle of having to buy their own supplies, having to, have kids at home, have to be on duty despite the fact that the bell has rung and they have a car waiting outside and they have their husband or wife at home. You know what I mean? They need to be able to have that kind of, closure, that teacher, because they would have gone through the same thing.
Right, absolutely.
HISD doesn't need a manager. I think that's what Mike Miles is. He's a dictator and a manager. They don't need that. HISD needs a leader and a teacher to be the same.
Okay, that's very good, very good. So now let's go back to, you mentioned something about the students and something about the freshmen. Again, trying to keep a lot of my personal opinions and my personal biases to myself, but watching the news articles, right, the different video clips of the media that are circulating around social media, and it always baffles me why the camera always zooms in and focuses on foolishness instead of purpose. And
I'm thinking the same.
Yeah. So there was one shot that I saw, and when I looked at this video, the video had 500,000 likes, right? So imagine the views that the video had. And it was a young lady and a young man. They were holding up a sign, and the sign was beautiful. I can't remember what it said, but I just remember thinking as an English teacher, oh my God, this sign is good. This is good. And then the camera pans off to this little kid who I'm assuming my teacher mind said, oh, this is a freshman. And he's kind of dancing and gyrating and thrusting at the camera. And I'm like,
I think I know the shot that you're talking about.
Why did you pan the camera in on him? Because what is that going to do? You look at the comments, and that thrusting, that gyrating, that movement in front of the camera takes total focus away from these beautiful signs that you guys have written of the message. Absolutely. And so when talking, and I thought about this as the more and more that I'm looking at you guys and I'm seeing you guys commenting on social media, and some of you guys are putting your own stories up on social media. I'm like, I love that you guys are getting together. I love that you're doing this. But I'm kind of like you. We might need to come back and have a meeting of the minds and talking to these younger groups of, hey, this is what peaceful, respectful protest looks like. This is what our focus needs to be. This is what staying the course looks like. This is what staying focused looks like, because the message could be even bigger if it wasn't being taken away from by
the gyrating. And I have something to say about that.
Okay.
As a journalist myself, I get it. 100%. I learned about A-roll and B-roll shots. What you described to me is a great B-roll shot. If I would give an award to that cameraman if I was in the news station. Great shot, entertainment. This is what the people want to see. But as a student, that's bad, really bad. It makes us look stupid, essentially. It makes us look really bad. Like really, really bad. And it makes us look disorganized. And when I see things like that, I'm like, we really need to actually have a meeting with these students and actually talk about, these are the issues. And we shouldn't put everything up for show, be like, hey, this is, hey, yo, this is this, and be informal about it. We need competency. We need to look professional. We need to look formal and actually saying, this is why we're protesting, and this is what we believe needs to happen as a result of our protest. We are expressing our First Amendment rights for peaceful assembly. We're not just fooling around. We're not just throwing things in the air. We're not committing any crimes of vandalism. No, we're just here to spread our message, and that's what we want to do. And I think that is what the media needs to start doing. But the media is going to be the media. You can't
entertainment sales. That's what's gonna get. That's the clickbait.
That's and once I go to the University of Missouri or wherever I commit, I haven't committed yet. Okay. But wherever I decide to commit, I'm gonna learn about that. And that's gonna be one of my go-to things, probably. Like, this is the shot. Like, do not focus on what they're doing. Get these guys in. Because you notice all the time, let's go off topic for a second. When a hurricane happens in Florida, they always grab the most random person ever that you wouldn't even think it actually exists. And then I remember specifically, during Hurricane Matthew, they had a guy they interviewed. He said, look, there are a lot of evacuations going on. They meant to say evacuations, and that kind of stuff sells and goes viral.
Absolutely.
What
Absolutely.
we need to go viral is actually our message going out instead of that gyrating hips thing or the foolishness that the media is putting out. Actually say, these teachers are being mistreated. Our phone policy is bad. Our principal isn't fully under control. Well, isn't fully in control. Administration isn't listening to us, and Houston Independent School District is just corrupt and bad. So we need to put those messages out there, not the ones that, as you said, are being put out right now.
So let's go back to, you said you guys look disorganized, all right? And let's go back to that faculty meeting where before we heard Miss De La Guardia, I keep saying
De La Guardia, yes.
De La Guardia, okay. So before we heard Ms. De La Guardia speak, we saw or heard from your principal on that 30-minute video where he spoke to the faculty. And he kind of joked, but it was kind of, like you said, it was a little shady about whoever's helping them. It was they're very unorganized and things like that. So he even kind of poked fun at, how unorganized you guys were and how you were sheep and things like that.
That comment, by the way, of you talking of him referring to us as sheep, that's ridiculous. Like, I have no personal gripes with the man, but that's just, you don't call children sheep. You just don't.
So what do you think? I want you to put yourself in a leader's position, because one day you will be, and I want you to put yourself in a leader's position. And what would your message have been to first your staff had this occurred? And then what would have been your message to your students had this occurred?
Well, first
that would have given the best possible outcome. Let me add that.
With getting the best possible outcome. First of all, with the staff, I'd say the first two words would be, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Because that would have been a failure on my part, ensuring the safety of my school. And I believe that with what happened today was absolutely unacceptable on my part, and it's my fault that this happened. I would have blamed myself.
Wow.
Not the teachers. I would have blamed myself. And I would have personally said, look, I want to work with the teachers here. I don't want you to transfer like was alluded to. I don't want that. We are already facing a teacher shortage in this country, and we need you here. He said that, but I don't think, I'd say that for real, with genuine passion and heart. We need you here. And I want to hear from you guys, because during that meeting, there was no opportunity for inquiry. That's one thing I would have done different. I want to hear from the specific teachers with specific issues and ask them, what do you think of this policy?
Right.
And do you believe that success can happen in the classroom from your perspective as a teacher here at James Madison High School? That's what I would have done.
Okay, that's very mature of you. So now tell me, what do you think the message as a leader would be to your students?
This is that look, if I was in this situation, wow. But honestly speaking, I would, first of all, if De La Guardia or any of them came in, I wouldn't care if it would have risked my job. I'd be like, okay, you're going to give them a third principal in 3 or 4 months. How is that going to look for HISD? That's what I would have said to the higher ups before anything. So I'd be like, get off my back and let me be a principal at a high school, because this is my first experience as a principal at a high school, and I want to make it the best possible experience for everybody. So after I would have said that, I would have told the students, look, I want to listen to you all for real. And I would have, instead of a virtual assembly, I would have had specific, from every, I believe that what they did was okay. Every English class, every English teacher, selects a certain amount of certain students that they believe are good, because you don't want, those other students,
those hip thrusters.
Yeah, the hip thrusters, I suppose, coming in, and just saying all this stuff to deter me from listening to them. I want students who genuinely have concerns here. And after listening to their concerns, after that, I'd be like, okay, I want to personally meet with parents, nothing virtual. I want parents to come to me, and if they can't come to me, if a parent volunteers, I could go to them. Go down to their level and speak about this, what my thoughts are and everything. So I want to get to a personal level. I don't want it to be, the student body, or everyone. Yes, it's about everyone, but I want to hear from people that genuinely care, that genuinely want change to happen. And so that's what I do as the principal towards the students. Go down to their level and just, speak. Let them speak.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask you this question because it's one that I've been worrying about since we first spoke the other day. Is even in your emails to me, you were so choosing my words carefully, brave and so bold. And I wondered, I said, is this baby, does he fear retaliation? Does he worry about what could possibly happen with him standing up for his teachers and him speaking to myself and other news media outlets? Like, do you fear retaliation from your school administration, especially now with the threats that you guys have allegedly been receiving from the superintendent? Are you worried about your face and your video being out, getting out, speaking out about what's going on and your feelings?
That's crossed my mind many times. Okay. It's crossed my mind. But here's the deal. I'm only speaking for the First Amendment right now. And this is within my rights to do it. I have evidence that I've done this. And on top of that, I'm doing this all legally. I've done nothing illegal. So if retaliation were to happen, yes, it would be bad. But also, it wouldn't be a good look for HISD. If you really,
you've never been in trouble before, ever?
I have not. I have not. So I know for a fact that I am okay in the position that I am in right now. I am okay.
Okay. So now you spoke earlier about I'm writing as I'm speaking. So you said you keep looking off over here. That's what I'm doing. So you spoke earlier about lots of evidence and documentation that you guys had. So it makes me go back to that Google document. And which I think, by the way, you guys should really teach a class about that, because whatever teacher is or teachers are encouraging you guys and pushing you guys and working behind the scenes. First, as a teacher, let me say thank you for protecting them. Thank you for speaking out for them, speaking up for them, because you guys realize that there's so much that teachers cannot do because their hands are tied. So it almost makes me kind of emotional, because it's like, wow, we always say, our students don't care, or our students are selfish. These teenagers, this generation is so selfish. They're all about themselves. And so to see, and it was you and it was a few other students that have contacted me, and you're all like, basically, please don't let it get out that it's this teacher or that teacher or this person or that person. Yeah. And you guys are being so careful. Even with your screenshots, even with everything, you're being so careful to make sure that you are protecting those teachers. And that is so heartwarming, because that's just unheard of a lot of times. So thank you guys for that. On behalf of your teachers, if I may speak for them, that means so much. So let's go back to the documentation that you said you had. You said you had some things. I know you guys are dropping and dumping things on the Google slide.
Documentation I'm basically talking about is in the Google Doc. That's what
Okay. All right. So in the Google Doc, and I kind of did a TikTok video about some of those things as well. We saw when you guys first walked out into the hallways, and we hear what I'm assuming is Miss Doria on the PA system telling you guys to get in a class, telling teachers, hey, if you see a kid in the hallway, pull them in your class. I guess they're naming all of these different pods, telling you guys, even if that's not your class, just get in a pod. We need everybody out of the hallway. We need you guys. If you're not in your pods or you're not in your designated areas, we're not releasing you guys for lunch. Let's talk about some of those things in that Google slide or that Google Doc.
Yes. I can actually pull it up right now.
Okay.
All right, no problem. right, cool. So, what would you like to talk about here?
The world is yours. You got it.
Well, honestly, I'd like to talk about the slide where it talks about parents coming to pick up their students after they were informed of the lockdown.
Okay.
And oh wow, it's crazy to me how just everything is on limbo because they, from what I'm seeing in this slide, they're not the administration I believe didn't even tell them about the lockdown. I'm not saying that for certain because I don't know, but it seems from my interpretation that students were the ones to tell their parents about it instead of the school telling them about it.
With the use of your phone.
With the use of our phone.
The use of your phone. Okay. So now on another thing of that slide, I'm assuming that there was a teacher that recorded that faculty meeting for you guys and dumped it on that slide as well. Listening to Ms. De La Guardia berate the teachers, which is definitely what occurred during that video. What are some other side conversations looking like with the teachers that you guys are having without saying something too personal that identify them? What are some other things that are going on behind the scenes?
Well, mostly I'd say it's just, conversation of you could hear a pin drop sometimes in that school with the teachers because it's just it's the culture. That's what I always say. It's the culture, and it's just like it's heartbreaking because teachers don't have it in their heart to really, take a kid's phone by just saying, give me your phone. Some of them just don't have it in them. Some of them do. They definitely do. Yeah. I can't speak for everybody, but some of them do.
Right.
Don't, because we're seniors. We're almost done. We're almost a grown adults. That's why I feel like whatever happens after this, I have comfort knowing that this was my decision that I made.
Okay.
And everything. And I know that I'm protected by law anyways, because everything that I'm saying right now is all the legend.
Okay.
Yeah, the evidence. Yeah, there's supposed evidence, but who's saying that I'm I'm not trying to slander anybody here. In fact, like I said, there are APs I highly respect at Madison High School. There are teachers I highly respect, and I'm saying this all in the most respectful way possible. And I just want to say that, if anything were to happen, I'm saying this all in respect and everything and in good faith. I wish malice upon no one.
Very good. Very good. So let's going back to I keep circling back to the teachers. We have seen several times in the media, social media, where teachers try to take a kid's cell phone and kids just kind of spaz out on the teacher, assaulting the teacher over a cell phone. Yeah. We've seen very unfortunate incidents happen to teachers when teachers have attempted to physically remove a cell phone from a kid, from a student. What are your thoughts on that? Should teachers, lose 10 and 20 minutes of instructional time arguing with students about give me your phone, or what do you think about that?
With that, I mean, that's the student. And I believe it's the teacher's responsibility. If the student is being disruptive, I genuinely believe that the teacher has the right to protect their classroom and the students in their classroom as well. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I believe if something were to happen, with 10 to 20 minutes, I think that if it gets to that point, maybe call an AP. I'd say maybe call an AP for that child.
Okay, so that was actually going to be my next question. Describe to me, I know I would be crazy to say that every day in class was a perfect day of learning with no behavioral disruptions to the learning environment. I would be crazy as a teacher to say that. So talk about some of the behavioral disruptions. I know you're a senior and we typically don't see as many in senior classes. A lot of times that you guys have made it in high school this far, you kind of have a plan to go to do something after, or you kind of matured in certain areas and you've settled into your ways. And so, you don't see a lot of the foolishness that you would see in an English 1 or English 2 class or art 1, art 2 class. But just think now or think about previous years at Madison High School and you've had behavioral disruptions. What does that look like for the kids that are doing what they're supposed to do? And then you have someone taking the focus away from instruction and taking the focus away from you because now they're choosing to disrupt the learning environment. What does that look like from a student's perspective? And then tell me how that's handled when the teachers have to end up calling for backup or calling for assistance. And if I'm giving you too many prompts at one time, my son and my children tell me I do that all the time. They're like, Mom, focus, one topic at a time. So
yeah, I can answer all of those questions.
Okay. Okay.
This is a scenario, so I'm used to them.
Okay. All right.
So I'd say this. I personally probably am not the best person to ask that to.
Okay.
Because when that sort of thing happens, I don't really pay attention. And frankly, I'm just there for my my diploma and everything, making sure I get grades. I'm not focused on the drama that happens with other students. Really. Like, yes, this is now a school-wide problem, and that's why I'm speaking up. But if this wasn't my concern, I wouldn't care. Frankly, I wouldn't care. But yes, this is now my problem. This is everybody's problem now. Everyone. Yeah. So I can't really say, honestly. I can't really say.
Okay. So when have you been in classrooms where the administration has had to come in and assist, or the teacher has had to call administration? Tell me what that looks like.
Honestly, most of the time the student just walks out.
Oh, okay.
And the AP just finds them and just takes them. I don't know what happens after that since I've never disrupted the class like that. So yeah, you're welcome.
We appreciate that. We appreciate
of course.
that. All right. So I want to give you, because what I like to do is take these interviews that I do even on my actual podcast and turn them into clips. And I want to give you a minute or so to air out your grievances. I know earlier when we spoke, you said, if they would just listen, we could tell them this, we could tell them that. I want you to give a message to the world right now and let them know, like, hey, while everyone is saying this is about cell phones, in about a minute or as much time as you need, tell the world what this is about. So this can be the clip that the news media possibly sees. So they know that you guys are not, as I saw quoted in one news article, throwing a tantrum over a cell phone.
Yeah. Well,
so,
I'd say this. Look, what you see in the media isn't what really represents our message. I believe that our message is about systematic change that needs to happen in Houston Independent School District. And what we're doing right now is just become a pinnacle of one policy. There are multiple policies that have been enacted, that have happened, that are a problem that just we haven't spoke up about. And I believe that with parent involvement, with student involvement, and teacher involvement especially, I think that we can get these issues solved. And I believe that at the end of the day, we can, in fact, end this all with a handshake. I think this all can end with a handshake. I've told that to multiple people. We can, in fact, get a deal done. We need the opportunity to do it. But yes, once a deal is done, that is news. Students, admins, teachers, parents coming together. That is a story. This is a story, yes, but everybody coming together in one, in unison, having all of this come together just would make everything just better. It would make our classrooms better, the learning environment better. Behavioral problems would get better. We would be confident in an administration. Administration would also be confident in us as students to get the best education, to act the way we're supposed to act in school. We Coming together would bring confidence and closure to everybody. And that's what I believe our message needs to be. We need to come together as one and just say, these are the problems with our school. And I believe these need to be fixed. And what can we do as students to help you guys, the admins? Because we don't want to put them in a bad situation, honestly, because they're the higher ups. They're we have to remember also, these people are also human beings. The teachers are human beings. They have other things going on when what your podcast is called, Teachers After Dark. Teachers do have lives outside. They have children. They have wives, husbands. We as students don't care what you do outside of school. No one should. We're human beings, and we need to realize that we have other things going on. But to make our problems better in a place where we spend most of our time in should be our main goal here. So that's all I have to say.
Well, I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to speak with you. I feel like we got so many questions answered. I hope that you were able to feel listened to, feel heard, feel seen. Yes. I'm gonna try not to do too much talking, because that's probably something I focus on with my students. Like, let me just shut up and listen. Maybe that's me being a mom of teenagers myself, but I do want to make sure that you guys are heard. And I do want this to be more of students like you to be the focus on the media, not the hip thrusters and the gyrators and the camera, because that's
entertainment, but this
is fun. Yes.
But this is serious.
Right, absolutely. And so we do need more of that. So I would like to encourage you to continue the good fight at school. You and a couple of your other classmates that I've spoken to, continue the good fight. Continue, even with those freshman kiddos, continue to push that positivity in them, because guess what? You're leaving. And they got next, as they say.
Yeah,
they got next.
And I think that in the future, after all this is settled, I heard from a teacher that they're just over it. They want this to be over. It's no pleasure for us either.
Yeah.
I am staying in the office 7 p.m. at night. I would be home by now. I'm going to be honest with you. I would be home by now with my feet up, relaxing on a Friday night. Because guess what? I got to go back to school anyway on Monday.
Yeah, you do.
And the teachers have to go back to school on Monday. They deserve to have the opportunity to just kick back, relax, and just do their thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's what needs to happen after this.
Okay, I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna go, because I've been thinking about you guys so heavy, but I remember high school being the most enjoyable time of my life. And I graduated from high school 20 something years ago, but I remember it being the best times of my life. And I have a 22-year-old son that's graduated already. And I remember telling him, do everything, soak up every moment. I have a junior in high school right now. And then I have a kiddo that's getting ready to go into high school next year. And I'm just like, do all the things, do everything, because you're never going to get this moment back. And I just want you guys to get to a point, even if it's at an NES school, to where you can say, you know what, we have these changes, come on, but I enjoyed my time in high school despite everything that was going on.
Students, we shall overcome. That should be, I think that will be a good slogan. We shall overcome. No matter what happens after this, we shall overcome. Life will go on.
It will. I'm going to issue a challenge to you, and this is something that you could possibly speak to your classmates about. Y'all came together and y'all did this. Y'all organized this so beautifully, I'm going to say. No matter what people have to say about the way it looked, I feel like it was a beautiful thing. I do want to challenge you guys to start pushing positivity and pushing more of the students that look like you and think like you out into mainstream media, and coming up with the hashtag. Even I love that, we shall overcome. Even if you guys start that as a trending hashtag to say, hey, despite everything that's going on with Mike Miles and everything that's going on with HISD, students, we still have to come out good on the other side of all of this. So I want to challenge you to get more of your classmates to think like you, to act like you, to speak like you, and push the positive side, push these are our true intention side, so that it does not look to the media as though you guys are throwing a tantrum. So what do you think about that?
I think I accept the challenge. I accept it.
All right, well, it was a pleasure speaking to you so very much. You have my email, you have my phone number, your mom. You guys feel free to reach out to me.